Hey guys, in this video I'm just gonna talk a little bit looking back at the wedding and now that we're about 1.5 weeks out from it, past. So yeah, just kind of what things that I wish I did differently or that happened differently, or things that I could have spent my money better in one way or the other. So overall, I was really happy. The day went so well. Obviously you guys know, if you watch my vlogs, the kind of stress leading up to it, but I mean, it was an amazing day. I'm so thankful for everyone that was involved, and everyone's just looking out for me, and yeah, it was just so much fun. My biggest thing that I wish I did differently, and I mean, I just wish I allotted even more time for photos. And I thought I did, like, honestly, I had like 2 hours and then another like 2 hours, but it still wasn't enough. Kind of by the time we did all our stuff, it just, yeah. And so there were one thing that, I mean, it wouldn't have given us that much more time. I should have just spaced things out more, but then it's tricky because, you know, you don't want to have people waiting like 4 hours between the ceremony and the reception dinner. But one thing that I wish I organized, and it was something that I meant to, but then I just didn't have time the couple days before. Of course, I was leaving it to the couple days, but I wanted to have a written list of like people that we want photos with, like with our photographers. So we had, you know, first we then had my mom, and then we had Dan's parents, and then this, and then his cousins, and then this. But it was just, we didn't organize it well enough. I honestly, I've been to a wedding where it was so nicely organized, and there was a list, and someone who knew a lot of people was kind of getting them to be in the area and already like standing in a group. Because there was just a lot of time wasted when we're like, oh, we want so-and-so to be in a photo, and then where are they? Oh, okay, well, will you go get that person? And yeah, I mean, again, looking back, we probably would have only gained about 20 minutes, but still, that's 20 minutes. We could have been having more pictures of, like, we had a beautiful, like, venue on the water, and you can go down to the beach to take photos, but there was no time for that. And that was something I'm actually quite disappointed with, because I really did want to have beach photos. However, I also I wanted to have photos up the mountain, some other places, but I'm just sad that I didn't utilize the space better. So that was something I was disappointed about. Something that I was happy in that same kind of time frame. We chose that we weren't going to do a receiving line. People were asking us, are you doing receiving? We're like, nope, you know, after the ceremony, we'll just mingle for a little bit, and then we'll go do the photos, which is like in the same mingling place, but just a little bit farther. So the background is not all the people. However, when we walked out from our area, we're like, what do we do? So we just kind of stood there, and the way the ceremony space was, it was like the big grass area, and then it was a walkway. And so everyone had to pass us to basically get out to where the cocktails were and the food was. So we ended up having a receiving line, and I have to say I'm really thankful that we did. Now, granted, we only had about 50 guests, so if we would have had like 100 or 150, it would have taken up way too much time. But I am actually glad we did that. So that was probably also another 15 minutes that took away from photos. However, I'm really thankful for that. It gave us a chance to actually talk to everyone. Yes, it was quick. Sometimes it was just, oh, thank you so much for coming, and then, oh, you look beautiful, Christy, oh, thank you, you know. But yeah, it was just nice that we actually got to speak to every single person, which was good, because then when it was cocktail hour, we didn't, even the ceremony or the reception after and dancing, you just don't, you try, but you can't. So I'm actually, yeah, very happy that we did that, and we got to say a couple words and a hug and a handshake to everyone that came. Yeah, so that was really good. So then another thing that I was disappointed with, which, I mean, it's nothing I can do, but with our officiant, he's an amazing officiant. I loved he was just so happy. He didn't have to read everything. He had everything memorized, and he was just really nice. Now, in our initial meeting, about a month prior, he had said, well, my dad has passed, so he's like, would you like me to say a little thing about how he's looking down and sharing in this special day, even though he cannot physically be here? And he kind of said, it was said nicer. And I was like, yes, I will actually know. At that point I was like, I think so. However, I want to check with my mom. You know, I don't want to do anything that's going to upset her or surprise her, because it's her husband. So I checked my mom and she said, yes, definitely. And so then the officiant said, like, I don't know if he wrote it down, but I said yes, but I'll double check. And he said, oh, just let me know at the rehearsal. So I let him know at the rehearsal the day before, saying, yes, we do want to have that, when you were talking about my father and blah, blah, blah. And then he didn't do it. And I was really upset. And I didn't know that till after, when I think I had two people, like, from one of my dad's side of the family, and then one was a family friend who was like best friends with my dad. They asked about it, and they're like, oh, you know, you didn't say. Anyway, and I was really upset. And because at the time, I mean, although I didn't hear the officiant say it, I figured, oh, maybe he already mentioned that as he was welcoming people in, you know, before I got there. So it didn't even occur to me. And then I was like, I should have mentioned something, you know, we did thank you speeches, Dan and I, and I said to my mom and stuff, but I didn't say anything then. However, I mean, yeah. So I wish either I would have known he wasn't going to, and then I would have said something, or I wish he did, because we asked him to. However, what actually the friend of my dad said to me, he's like, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, if the officiant made that speech, it would have been for everyone, but what matters is most for you. And actually in my bouquet I had made, that was that locket that I broke, that I was so like a basket case pouch, the night before. So it went around the bouquet, and because I walked down the aisle by myself, and one side of the locket was a picture of my dad, and then the other side it said, I forget what it said now, but it was like walking with me and forever in my heart. I think it was a bit more eloquent than that, but so it's something that he's forever at my side, or anyways, but that, you know, he was there walking alongside me, and in my heart he was there and sharing the moment. So that's all right. So then a couple other things. There was just the cake. Well, there were a couple things with the cake. The cake looked beautiful, but we got a flower thing on the cake, and it was supposed to be 6 inches, because I said the top tier is 6 inches, and it was like, it took up half the cake, which made it look really silly, like half the top tier. And then I measured it at home, because I was already disappointed at the time, and it was like 3.5 or 4 inches. And that was upset about. But I mean, it doesn't matter. I didn't say anything to the florist. The time has passed. But at the ceremony, or at the dinner, we had made it really clear to our month of coordinator that we wanted a slice of each flavor of cake on each plate, like a small sliver. So that's why we didn't, discuss what flavors were. They were on the menu, and each person would get a small sliver of each. And then the waiters started passing them out, and they were like a large slice, like the back of one slice of cake was like this big. And then he was going around, he was like, would you like chocolate or vanilla? And when he said that to me, I was like, it's not vanilla, it's lemon. Because I was already, and then he's like, oh yeah, sorry. And I'm like, and so then I got my maid of honor to get the coordinator, and I was like, why is there only one big slice per plate? There's not two. So she went to the kitchen, rectified as best she could. I mean, by that time, over half the people had already gotten their one choice of cake. So then the kitchen came around and cut the rest of, or like brought out the plates of the other ones and said, would you like to try the other one? However, I was still disappointed because that wasn't supposed to be. But again, ultimately it doesn't really matter. So things that I am happy that I spent money on that a lot of people may not have, are wedding favors. So we had the little chocolate boxes that were kind of not engraved, but like they were cut out with Christy and Daniel on one side and the date. Realistically, that thing cost kind of, and then it was US funds, so it probably cost about $80, and then we did $120 of chocolate, and then like, I don't know, $5 of ribbon. So yes, that was expensive for 2 chocolates that people eat, and that's it. However, I felt that I still think that was worth it in my eyes. Even though now we have like 40 extra boxes that we cannot use, and it's not like I can sell because it has our name and date on it. But I'm really happy that we did that. I thought that it looked really nice, and yeah, that was something that definitely was not needed, but I'm really happy that we did that. Another thing that, well, this one is kind of, so I had mentioned before that, you know, we're not like huge party people, so we didn't want to spend a lot of money on a DJ. So thankfully we got one that was like not the most expensive. It was kind of, you know, mid-range. I think it was like $700 or $750. But that's still really expensive. And sure enough, we had a lot of like older people, like family members, that by about 9 o'clock they went home. And then even a lot of we had people with young kids. So then, although actually Dan's cousin with her 2 young kids stayed, or 3 young kids stayed, so that was really nice to almost the end. But some other people, they went home, or yeah. So although we spent a lot on the DJ, we didn't utilize him very much. Basically, he was there until midnight, and by 11 we were pretty much all done. And even from like 10 to 11 there was only about 2 tables left, and then none of us were dancing. He was trying so hard to get us to dance, like just with pumping music, and we were all just kind of chatting, sitting at tables, and yeah, so I almost wanted to be like, could you play maybe some quieter music, just like ambiance music? I didn't, but I was like, his job, you know, so I felt kind of bad. And just, I mean, maybe we could have, I don't think they had like a 4-hour package or something or DJing, but maybe I could have looked into that, because we definitely didn't need like the full 7-8 hours of DJs. Like technically you're allowed to go till 1 a.m. but then music till midnight, and yeah, clearly we're not doing that. But still, I think if I were to have organized like my own playlist, and like it would have been more stress. And we did have one person that made a request, so you know, we were fine with that. We told our DJ, you know, there was one song that I didn't want played, so we said that, but we're like, you know, if people request something, we're fine with that. So overall, he played good music. We said no like lots of profanity, but in general, we're okay with anything else. Yeah, so I mean that, I'm glad we had an actual DJ, so I didn't have to worry about it. However, probably if I could have looked into having a shorter package, if those exist, and saved a couple $100, I don't know. And then what also we did that definitely wasn't needed, at 10 o'clock we had a late night snack of flatbread, and that was kind of when there were just the 2 tables. So thankfully, I mean, the hotel let us take it home after, so we gave one to Dan's brother and one to my bridesmaid. But honestly, we got 6 flatbread pizzas. Like, we would have done fine without them. So it wasn't a ton of money. I think it was like, well, still the hotel price. So I mean, it's like $14, $15 per flatbread, but you know, oh well. What else? I was happy with my drink choices. I mean, there was a lot of drama going on with that, and I kept changing my mind. And then it was like, well, you're serving Prosecco at the cocktail reception as well as punch and water. But then it was like, but that's not a cocktail. You should have a signature cocktail drink. And I was like, oh my God, it's like the night before the wedding. I cannot make any changes. So that kind of got me down. But ultimately, it was fine. There was still punch if people wanted something different than, anyway. So I was like, I worried so much about that leading into it, and it was fine. And then we also were planning on doing like 1 drink ticket for everyone, which was kind of a mixed thing. It's kind of tacky, but we had a couple people who don't drink, and so we had bottles of red and white wine on the table, and that would be replenished as if people drank the whole bottle, and then we have a new one brought out. But again, for the people that cannot drink, so that they wouldn't have to go up to the bar and pay like $5, $6, $7 for like a Sprite or something. So we didn't do that. Then with all the changes, we decided to go get rid of that. And I'm really happy about that, because I didn't have to design drink tickets. Plus it was cheaper. And honestly, it wasn't needed. People either had water or they had the wine. And there were some people that wanted a beer, and they were fine with buying it themselves. We said on our wedding website that, you know, there's a cash bar, so people would know ahead of time. So I'm glad that we didn't do that, because that would have been an extra like I don't know, like $500 to do a drink ticket for everyone. Well, depending what they ordered, but still, you know, up to 500, you never know. So I'm happy about that. So yeah, the biggest thing was I wish we spent more time for photos. And then it was kind of tricky because our photographer, I mean, we agreed on the 8-hour package, and so I paid her ahead of time, as you have to do, for that. And then in the contract, it's any additional time is $250 an hour more, which, I mean, I was fine with that. And so then we were gonna do like sparklers at 9:30, and then at like 8, I guess, the wedding coordinator said, oh, the photography and videographer team, they're leaving. And the sparkler photos, you know, they'll do that when you guys have your engagement shoot later, which is, come on, we're never actually going to go and do that. That's, you know, it took so hard. Like, if you're not then getting married that season, you have to wait a year for photos and stuff. Like, so that's kind of a missed opportunity. So, and what was sad, like when our videographer left, like before she left, she came up to me. She didn't just have the coordinator tell me. She came up to me and said, Christy, I'm, you know, about to head out. We got all the shots that I think we need. Would you like me to film anything else? Would you want me to record anything more, or do you want to do something else? And for that, I was like, no, I'm okay. And the photographer, if the photographer would have come up to me, and again, I mean, I should have sought her out. I should have found her, but if probably I would have said, well, can we go down, even if we don't do the sparkler photos in an hour and a half, can we go down right now for like 10, 15 minutes and do some beach photos? So she didn't. She just kind of, it was kind of, she's leaving, you'll do your photos at a later date. And it was like, so again, I'm disappointed with that. However, she's an amazing photographer, and I haven't seen any photos, so I'm sure we did get enough. I'm sure we got a lot. But I don't know. We got one back already that I had to ask her. I'm like, you know, I know you're busy. I know we'll only get our photos in 90 days. But we did a thank you, holding a thank you sign that I was hoping to use for our thank you card. So would we be able to get that one early? I know, not the other ones, you know. So she did send us that one, and it looks really good. Although I wish it was one where we were smiling at the camera. I think we did take one of those, but again, maybe our eyes were closed or we didn't look good, so we didn't do that. There were a lot of photos, which I guess is nice and romantic, but it's supposed to be like, they would mention, they're like, I'm like this, and they're like, okay, now just do a relaxed face. And then I'm like, and they're like, okay, well, relaxed, happy face. And I'm like, and they're like, all right, let's go back to smiling. So I'm just not good at being content. So there's a whole bunch that, well, actually, the nice thing is when we went and did our bridal party photos, the groomsman's girlfriend came with us, and she, well, my maid of honor gave her cell phone and said, you know, just snap, kind of, obviously don't get in the way of the photographers, but, you know, just go to town with taking photos. So she did, and again, we're not looking at the camera at any of her photos. However, some of those I still really like. I had put a couple of them, I think 4 of them, in my last video for the vlog. Yeah, and I'm really actually happy that we have those, because other photos we don't get until, like, you know, 3 more months. However, also the silly ones where I'm like, I don't even know how to look at them. Yeah. So that's all right. But hopefully we have enough. I have nothing against like smiling and being like, I guess it does look a little fake and cheesy, but I'd rather that I look happy than like, oh well. But aside from that, I think everything else, I'm really happy. I loved our location. Again, I wish I utilized it a little bit more with getting the beach photos, but we just ran out of time. And even coming back for the dinner, like I was texting our planner, I'm like, we're still in the car, we're almost there, and she's like, oh, hurry. And like even like we went back there, I had to get my veil out and my dress bustled, and it was just, it went by so quickly. There was like, I didn't even have time to like go to the bathroom and freshen up, because it was already like, people have already been waiting in there for 15 minutes, and I know, you know, it's on, you know, we're the bride and groom, it's our time. But at the same time, we said dinner was at 6, and we're only back here at 6:15, and then now we have to do all this. So I mean, I didn't have to go to the bathroom, but I would have liked to maybe freshen up a little bit, like blotted my face, or I don't know. So it was just, it felt a little rushed, I guess. And then because everything was back, then I forget, I think the planner came up to me and asked, and she was like, oh, we had said that 7 o'clock is cake cutting time, but you guys are still eating. Do you want to go do the cake now? And I'm like, no. I was like, well, why don't we finish eating? And so everything was kind of pushed back 15 minutes, but I was like, I didn't find that as a big deal. But I guess that's why we hire a planner who tries to keep us on schedule. However, yeah, that was a little rushed, I guess. But again, that was because we went off to do photos, and it was like a maybe 15 to 20 minute drive each way to do photos, so that lost a lot of time too. But again, there were 2 forest areas, and the photographer said she doesn't like the one of them, which was the one that's like 10 minutes closer. She likes the farther one. So again, I'm sure those are going to be amazing photos, but it's just when you pay like $5,000 for a photographer, you want to have them for a lot longer and want to make the most of it, but that's okay. But everything else, I mean, my hair, my makeup team, though they were amazing. They made us all look great. And it was funny, everyone who came into the room was like, oh wow, this is such a chill like environment. And I was like, yeah, I guess it is. But yeah, everyone was so nice. They were like, make sure you're eating, make sure this, and yeah, just really looking out for me on my day. We did a little bit of dancing, and then did I mention? Oh yeah, with our dance, I looked at the audience or the guests, but there was a little bit of dancing that we were doing, and then, you know, by I guess like 8:30, people were already starting to say, oh, you know, we're gonna head out. So then we kind of went outside of the ballroom, and then like just we're chatting a little bit with them before they go and stuff. So then we lost a lot of I heard NSYNC come on, and my maid of honor is a huge NSYNC fan and loves JT. So I was almost like, I wanted to go in there to be like, oh, I really want to rock this and dance this with her. And I loved growing up, I loved NSYNC too. But then I was like, but I have to talk to these people, so I missed dancing with her to NSYNC, because that would have been so good. So then, yeah, we had a lot of time chatting with guests there, but then, yeah, for about half an hour at that point, maybe 45 minutes, while everyone was, a lot of our guests, the majority of our guests were leaving, we then were like chatting with them and stuff too. But overall, I mean, yeah, there isn't that much that I would have changed. I'm really happy with the team that we had to make our day amazing, and yeah, I'm happy with what we spent our money on. I'm glad we did have a day of coordinator. Just like, she was so helpful with helping plan, and although like the day before I had, or was it the day before I had the florist and the design team call me, and I wanted to be like, and this was again amongst all my stress of everything, I wanted to be like, why are you calling me? Talk to my planner. So it was fine. But aside from that, like, the planner, you know, took over when we were about like a couple weeks ahead of time. So yeah, we didn't do the full planning because we had already booked a lot of the vendors, and we were fine with chatting with like making those decisions. But it was basically like 2 weeks time, she's then the main contact. She arranges what time people have to be dropping flowers off, cake off, so I don't have to deal with any of that. And so that was definitely money well spent. There were some times where I'm like, you know, why are you calling me when I'm paying to have a planner so I don't have to deal with this? So I talked so much that my battery died, but I'm back. But yeah, I don't have too much more to say. If anyone has any specific questions that I haven't covered, let me know, and I'll either just answer it in comments, or if there's enough, I will make another video. However, this is like a 20-minute video or 30 minutes, so I don't see how I didn't cover everything, but I'm sure there is stuff. So yes, let me know if anything else you have questions about, and yes, stay tuned. Coming up in a couple of days will be our honeymoon plan video, which I'm filming right after this, so that's why I'm gonna look the exact same. But we're leaving this weekend, so very soon. And as I'll mention in that video, we will be vlogging a little bit. So thank you for watching this video and for all of your lovely comments on my wedding video, and I will see you guys later. Bye.